It is December 29th at 12:35 p.m. at Save-A-Lot. Some women, as my new client and I go to leave, came in and yelled out, "The kids feel bad about everything. They told everybody they made everything up and they wouldn't want anybody to say anything to me anymore." Well, they already told Flora they made everything up on Thanksgiving of 18. It's part of the case. The real police found them stating it to Flora on Thanksgiving of 18 and their mother telling them to make everything up. This whole thing is ridiculous. They interviewed my whole family. They spoke highly of me back when I was with Dave in 18, just to cover it so no one could ever pull anything with me. Today, outside my client's house, there's a black car with a silver design. It's been following me around, harassing me, a red one and a white one from Ravenna. And that has been following me around down here. They're part of it. They were yelling out, "Too bad we tipped you before." Okay, I've never talked to no man about anything dirty. I had bruises. Dave defended me on tape. "You're good to the kids, you're good to the grandkids, no matter who it is. You've always been." It came out on December 9th, apartment building for me, second one closest to the fence, that Dave drugged me before. A few days later, they talked to uh, someone with a badge, took him around the parking lot, and said it loud enough for both parking lots to hear. 1295 Carolyn Middle apartment, little white lady yelled at him right before May 25th. "It's not funny. The church people broke in before, drugged me, and told me to say where to molest or stuff." That's not funny. Where they were running around Giant Eagle in town. It's so funny. She doesn't know what's going on. It's so funny. A group of them from Ravenna. No, it's not funny. May 25th, Wendy's Louisville, the crew was talking about it. How not funny the church people were breaking in before, drugging me, and telling me to say that. They said it from my old client. A bunch of people in town were calling them bastards. Okay. And my old client told Jim and Brian he heard it and it was too dark for him. On December 24th, there was a light-haired man with a beard knocked on their door. I went outside and said, "Karen's will doesn't want you to say anything anymore." She told him, "Too bad, I've already talked to someone." Go, lady. You know, you stop wannabe mob lords that have people drugged, framed, photoshopped, uh, beat, raped, tortured when they try to help someone else, abducted, neural checked. You tell on them and you tell as many people so it doesn't happen to you. That's how you stop villains from doing crimes. Illegal surveillance, them setting up cameras with Judge Pete being involved and his daughter Michelle. His wife, Memorial Day weekend 2019 at the food counter of Walmart 62 for "It's My Daughter" husband dates. He met her in Ravenna when she was having a stomach spell for "It's My Daughter." They did all this for her and our family down here watching her and doing this. And for who's Karen's rich boyfriend but the state of Ohio who protects her? Michelle's mother. Even my daughter-in-law Dixie knew Michelle, and John's kids called her Auntie Shell. She's supposed to be a young blonde girl. He was also dating a Lauren, a heavyset girl with big boobs, and a pretty dark haired girl, all connected to that courthouse. They would have had to go to the FBI and go higher. They can't go to another county. This is ridiculous. All this was thrown out. All the police know I'm innocent. Um, The other night they were following me, harassing me, and I pulled into the Stark County Sheriff's, and a sheriff pulled up and said, "Are you okay?" And I said, "No." I said, "I've been followed, I've been harassed, I've been emailing you." and I gave him my CCW. I said, there's a protection order that comes up with it. He said, a protection order. I said, yes. One of the local officers said that's what's on it. And I gave it to him. He said, this is an odd, weird case, but it's big. And I said, it's Judge Pete and his undercover police doing it to me. He said, are you sure? And I said, yes. Uh, and I said, there's a bunch of men that are bragging that they drugged me and they're lying to people. They have sodium pentothal reports, true serum. They broke in and stabbed me with needles in my sleep. He said, you're kidding. I said, no, they bragged in Walmart. And I told him about June 23rd, about the two investigators following me around for years. What are these people talking about? We interviewed her whole family a long time ago. She never hurt anyone. I said, and then back by the paint aisle, there's a bunch of girls. Oh my goodness, the boys had to drug her to make her say all that stuff. No one mentions those tapes. And then there's an older white guy, 50-ish, black hair, dark eyes, baseball hat in the optical center before April of 19. Either in Massillon Walmart or Walmart 62. Sits next to me. It's me and my men that question you at night. That's why you have bruises. I walked off like, who the hell are you? Do you know he showed up in Louisville McDonald's in the morning and act like he even raped me to a bunch of men and we're laughing about it. He's a rapist and a drugger and a kidnapper. They all are. They're murderers. December 9th, I went to the Hunger Task Force. There is a bald guy with dark eyes. He had watched me in the first of the case. He comes out and he kind of walks back and he said, it makes my stomach turn seeing her in a place like this. We always knew those tapes before were them, not her, so we never said anything to her. December 9th, 4 o'clock, he's a maintenance man that works at 3805 Cleveland Avenue. He had mocked me about the tapes before and talking dirty shit and to people and then being nice to my face, so I ignored him. Okay. Um, he he was on the phone. He had his head away from me. The tapes before were them, not her. Wow, what's going on? It's a group of men doing as many crimes as they can to see if someone will actually stop them. An older African American man that works with him came up, and those people are driving by screaming stuff. He said, I found out what's going on. None of this is funny. He said, he said, uh, he said, I know. He said, she's scared to death of him. I told them that the tapes before were them, not her, and it's a bunch of men doing crimes, and the guy at the task force told them the same thing. Well, I have the Massillon police also backing me. They know everything before the FBI is not admissible. They were stating it last month when I took my client Paul to the or to Stat Care in Wales. And an officer came in and said, I'm here to watch her. We found out that Steve and Eric are stalking her, and it finally became funny. Nothing they have is admissible after everything they did to her. Okay? And he's laughing with the nurse. Okay? These idiots sold the login. They talk about it in Walmart by Christmas to the 1st of January that they sold the login for $25 a pop to a real state and federal investigation. My one friend, Walter, works for the prosecutor's office. He talked to an FBI agent. He said none of this was that. They couldn't confirm or deny who did it. Okay? It's not. It's the uh, it's the courthouse of Ravenna doing this in the undercover police and for selfish gain and selfish gain of their own. First, I thought it was an agent's daughter, the way they were talking. Mm-mm. It's them. They have ran around blaming the FBI for everything. everything. Um, the I got to thinking about the idiot that told on me for I call Wellback. Um, he's white, he has black hair, dark eyes, black glasses, 5'9", late 30s, early 40s, black glasses. He's white. He's maybe 165 pounds. I'd say 5'9", 5'10", my kid's his size. Will wouldn't ask me to stay quiet. He didn't know. How much you want to bet he's either one of their relatives with a fake FBI badge or an undercover officer? Because FBI don't tell any. Uh. And the idiot that raped me that was 6 foot tall, bald, dark eyes, about 200 pounds, drove a dark gray truck, threatened to arrest me after I was raped and tortured. Um, wasn't where he was claiming he was an agent. He wasn't an agent either. He was a dirty undercover officer. The ushers at Faith Family Church would know who he is. He's a white guy, like I said, drives a dark gray truck, 6 foot tall, uh, with dark eyes, 6 foot, about 200 pounds. And the ushers, because he came in and said I had a rat, calls me a whore for him raping me. And threatened to arrest me in front of 1,000 people. And that young usher with black hair and dark eyes got in his face. What you did was considered rape. You leave her alone. He yells about Dave and everything else. Okay? Um, all of these people were them and not the FBI. And they're running around blaming the FBI, even for the neurochip. 3/13/21 at 2:53 p.m. Go a little bit before, there'll be people that have been following me around for years. They're paying them off. As I walk in, their phone will go off one by one. You'll give me how much for a settlement? You'll give me how much for a settlement? And they walk off. Okay? They didn't come back. They paid them off. I go in and I check in and I go over and sit down and a lady comes in. I'm here for Karen's. Well, the agency chipped her. Okay? I'm in the agency again. Bitch gets in my face. The agency wanted the truth out of you. That's why they chipped you. It is an illegal way to get the truth out of someone. U.S. Supreme Court 18-10134, 2005 11th Circuit. Okay? It comes with a 20-year sentence. Well, I go in the back. I was neurochipped 12/21/18, stabbed in the neck of the refrigerator. There's real cases with real tapes that started September 27th, 18 when I called Will at the FBI. Okay? September 27th, 2018. The men showed up on the 28th. Okay? Okay. So, nothing before. Let's see. 12/21/18. Stabbed in the neck of the refrigerator. Abducted. I have a big dent in the back top of my skull, about the size of an egg. And I woke up 6 hours later, hair missing, the rest of my hair straight up. Okay? Didn't know what happened, been drugged, have a migraine, a dent in my skull. People were breaking and stabbing me with needles on a regular basis up there and keeping me drugged all the time. And I didn't know who was doing it. I wake up with bruises and weirdos that come up to me in Walmart. We always knew you're innocent. You tell someone you're arrested. Lying to people. They had sodium pentothal. Reports they don't use it. If you Google false confession, sodium pentothal. Questioner gets what it wants. Right or wrong, you lie down the board. Legal sodium pentothal. FDA prohibits any use in humans and not to be brought in the United States. Lethal sodium pentothal is used in lethal injections and for anthrax. They're not going to give you a lethal injection that makes you say yes to everything. And it's spy flick movie stuff. Okay, getting back to 3/13/21 at Altman Hospital. I go in the back and I tell Dr. Alan Martinez I may have a chip. He said, Okay, and he goes to walk out. And there's a man right there, some damn bastard neurochapter. He said, we already know. Okay? I get my CT scan. A man's outside my room that we didn't realize her ex was part of that shooting that night. While I go to the bathroom, that weird Eric is stalking me, calling the nurse, bad mouthing me on lies. They're mean to me, and security calls me names. Right? I go over, yeah. This case is swirling around me. It's like everything is still here because nobody will clean it up. Okay? None of this has been the FBI. It's been them. I don't know what happened to Will. Um, I had talked to Will at the FBI in Canton. I told him I was scared, and he was talking, I was talking, and I forgot to tell him the asshole the night before because he was talking. I was crying so hard. Um, I couldn't think. Okay. And I left a lot of stuff off. Well, people, within 10 days, Dave had a hit on Dixie and the baby's life, and I had called and I told his secretary. She yelled out, Will, he's got a list. He's like, I'm working on it. I can hear him in the background. Told the secretary that. And then I called and said, he's seen the guy. I seen the guy, and she said something. So, yeah, that, and then I ended up deleting Will's phone number because Dave was going through my phone, and I tried to protect Will. I heard Will was really old, so I'm glad I did that. But they already knew. They were illegal surveillancing me. The law states that it can only be police and higher significant investigation like drugs, murder, espionage, treason, because the right to privacy throws it out. You can't do any bedrooms, bathrooms, no nudes, you can't share, and you can't have a conflict of interest. They could never give, attorneys can only tape you out in public. It is illegal for them to tape you in your home unaware with tiny cameras. It's automatically thrown out. Everything that would be make it not admissible already did. Um, I talked to an officer in Louisville. He stopped by. He said a government official was worried about me. I told him about the girls connected to the courthouse and those charges. He's like, don't worry about it. He said, we can't look at anything till you talk to the FBI. Okay? And he said they had no right in your home. And I said, they even said they drug. He's like, you know what? I don't care. He said nothing before the FBI. Nothing. He's right. Nothing. The only thing came out was Dave drugged me and told me to say something stupid. So did the church people breaking in before drugging me, telling me to say weirdo stuff. And then the undercover officers breaking in and doing it too. And they had an illegal surveillance on me. And then March 2nd to the 3rd, they were breaking outside to the neighbors. A car picked it up. They were going to put two clips together and make a porn where it was simple wiping off water with clothes on. Didn't expose yourself. You're good. They told. I left Altman Hospital because I was mistreated. Went over to Mercy Medical. Some lady showed up and said no man was ever to touch her. Okay. Um, and the nurse comes in laughing. The only thing they had you on was adjusting yourself, wiping off water with clothes on, not being weird with yourself, just adjusting yourself. And the guy's like, that's sick. And she said, no, it's funny. They only have on her adjusting herself. And she's laughing like crazy. Okay, so Rite Aid in town, April 1st to May 10th. Louisville Rite Aid. Some lady walks up and said, you didn't expose yourself, you're good. Well, all of a sudden they say, yeah, you're being weird with yourself. You're being, you expose yourself, you're weird with yourself. And I'm like, I'm not like that. My God, I'm not even like that in private, being weird with myself. Would you put somebody else's body on it? And then I thought, where do you touch yourself? Shower. I went outside, some guy was laughing. She figured out what they did. They put the shower scene over. That's why. A couple weeks ago, now my apartment's bugged. Uh, they and they sold the login. Two guys walked by and said, "Will you erase my part out? I didn't think about what we did." And he said, yeah, I can race your car. They were still altering their tapes. I was sitting outside my old client's girlfriend's house at 1233 13th Street. She lives in that area. And there's people in that house that are part of it. Um, some guy had walked out, sat on a porch, looks up at me, looks at his phone, and said, I'm not part of this. I don't want any part of this. They even had to choke her before and tell her to stay and walk back in the house. Well, when they were making fun of me for putting me in a porn, I got so upset. My stomach bled for a few days. Some guy looked at me and went, I'm not interested, or someone's not interested because you've been pooping out blood because you can't handle it and walked in that house. Okay? They're part of it. The car audio picked it up and everybody with the case heard them. They sold a login to everything. Everything. Neural chips are real. They use them for paralyzed patients, even in Cleveland Clinic, for a long time. They can communicate through cell phones, think of something, and it answers them. It comes up like yes, no, whatever. Whatever you're thinking. It's how they communicate. It's a simple surgery. They remove your head and skull, they lay the disc down and expand it out into your brain, surgically glue your head back down, and it's activated. They can run computers and type with it. They can run video games with their eyes. They can communicate through the cell phones, and they even have one that will move a robotic arm for paralyzed patients. It's a medical field, but it is an illegal strategy for the truth. They're very real. It's not sci-fi stuff. It's medical field stuff. But it is a legal way to get the truth. They tried it in 2005 in Guanaco Bay and went to the people there went to jail for it. We have the right to remain silent. Legal representation, and if you can't afford one will be appointed to you. We also have a right to privacy. They cannot set up cameras in your home and surveillance you unless it's police and higher significant like drugs, murder, espionage, treason to invade your privacy or it's already thrown out. There cannot be a conflict of interest or it's thrown out. It cannot be an attorney. They can only do it out in public. Or it's thrown out and they have to compensate you. It's the federal law of Justice for Victims of Torture and Terrorism Act. Um, so that their tapes can't be altered. Um, my brother had home surveillance because my one nephew is extremely handicapped, and a caretaker yanked his remote out of his hand. He can't hardly talk, and he tried to get it back, and the guy's in his face, and he shoved him. He had it on tape. That baby went to jail for 2 months. My brother was beside himself. He's like, I can prove he yanked it out of his hand. He was in his face, inciting him to shove him. And the judge's like, I can't look at it. He said, but I have proof. You know why? It wasn't done by police and higher. Significant investigation without a conflict of interest. It could be altered. Exactly. Those people outside my new client Paul's, his new brand new apartment, were driving by screaming stuff again today. We taped her. That's all there is to it. I never talked to you. Ever talked to you. And when I talk to my ex-husband, you're good to the kids, you're good to the grandkids, no matter who it is. You've always been good to them. And good to all the kids and all the grandkids, no matter who it is. They interviewed my whole family just to cover all bases. They even said in 19 they spoke highly of me. Okay? Some ladies in Walgreens and Maslin, what was it? December 22nd or 23rd. I was getting my new client a COVID shot. Huh. They came in, they have watched me before. It's funny, they actually did speak highly of her. In 18, they covered all bases. So no one could ever say anything again. And they did catch Melissa's kids stating they were lying to Flora on Thanksgiving of 18. They told apartment building for me, second closest to the fence. Those children, they were lying too. They've told a bunch of people. This is ridiculous. It was some guys that watched me called it fucking shit my family should be ashamed of. Someone else looked into it in January. The whole thing was a me joke. It was. And it's documented if you actually call the Maslin police. It's not funny these people have drugged me. It's not funny they're pretending to be FBI and blaming the FBI on everything. It's not funny they photoshopped me. It's not funny that they're sending it to people. It's not funny that they drugged me before and Dave drugged me before and the church people and they send it to people either. I didn't know I had bruises on me and I thought it was from moving wood and it wasn't. And every time he touched my drinks, I would throw up. And when I realized he had made me a coffee and I was fine in the morning. And I said, let's just go to McDonald's. I want to go shopping. I felt really good. He made me a coffee and a grape juice. He's like, I'll just make it here. I said, no, let's just go through McDonald's because I could keep liquids down at that point. He said, no, I'll make it for you. I drank maybe an ounce of it, ran to the bathroom, threw up like fire. My nose bled. I had water blisters from my roof of my mouth in my throat and my nose bled. And if you even touched it, it would pour blood. And it did it for about a week. And I kept wanting to go to the doctor, and I'm choking on it. And they keep forming and popping, and I'm gagging. He had done something shitty, really bad to that drink. It's a good thing I threw it up. My daughter-in-law remembers when it happened. Um, the time I got to the doctor, it healed, and she could only guess what happened. Maybe threw up too much stomach. I've thrown up for 7 days before. No, never like that. My brother's one caretaker said she did the same thing with insecticide. She accidentally touched her lip after she sprayed it. She said that's chemical. My stepmother, Jan, said my dad did this. He had a pipe. He would always put it in his mouth. Okay. And after he sprayed it, he did that, and the same thing happened. That it was probably some kind of chemical, but she couldn't tell because it was so long after I got there and everything had healed. Because he's like, you don't need to go to the doctor. Uh, yeah, these people have run around ridiculous trying to get me in trouble for their crimes. October 5th at Huntington Bank, Cleveland Avenue, 1:53 p.m. Women follow in behind me right before that because I check out. Um, right before that, I check out. Um, I, they come in right behind me and my new client. I don't want Melissa getting any money on this. That's okay. They knew they made everything up. They just didn't want anybody to help her. Okay. Um, October 2nd to the 3rd, I'm in the emergency room because I'm getting all these migraines and getting dizzy from the chip. It needs to be removed. Okay. Um, they, ladies telling an officer there, she's an informant, and they're relying on her. He said, that's okay, I'll make sure nobody says anything. Inside, girls are making fun of me for being raped. None of this is funny. I was in Home Depot, in Belden, right off the strip, okay? I figured out who's pretending to be Will. Um, Somebody had said that Will wanted to take me out and called me Will's girlfriend and all this other stuff, and I don't even know Will. And I thought, well, what are they doing? Lying so people leave me alone? You know, I couldn't figure it out, and I thought he's just a weirdo. Um, and they kept saying everywhere I go, and I don't know Will. Okay, Will's not even part of this. He's retired. And then if you I go in and my new client's getting new keys for his apartment. Some idiot on the phone, the weirdos here, blah, 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 and call me names, call security. Okay? I'm like, shut up. You know, I just want to yell at, shut up. It's not your fault when you're drugged and framed and photoshopped. I just want to scream at these people. And I just ignore it because I got my client with me. I go get the keys. We go back to the electrical center. We come back and right by the register before we get to where the keys are again. I'm looking down because I'm so upset. You can get them. A little girl and a guy comes in. He said, I told these people I don't want to go out with her anymore and stop saying anything to her. I know you'd rather spend the time with me and us, don't you? And I'm like, oh my God. And I don't say anything. That's the one pretending to be well. I was so upset. My client said something. He said, I heard that kid and that guy say stuff. And that kid said it's sick. They raped her. They let a little kid see the rape. He said, I know I told these people to stop saying stuff to her. My client said something to me. You can get them. Now, if you go to Big Lots on Whipple on the 4th of July, they'll probably still have the tapes. I go in to buy something. There's a lady in the back on the phone. Well, it's not funny. They said they killed someone outside. They did. Okay. They said they killed two, and on a real investigation, the house was bugged and they caught them. Okay. Two men followed me around. At this point, we had to erase our memories. And I'm so upset I lose my debit card. I go back. Okay. Now it's either when I go in or right when I go back, there will be an Asian lady with two kids walking out. Will's going to make it up to us today. Okay, took those kids out. Do you know how many countless little faces I've seen? Will's taking me out today. Will's making it up to me today. There's some weirdo pretending to be an FBI agent. Got him. Home Depot. Home Depot on the strip. Today is December 29th. It'll be the 27th. I check out at 4:55 p.m. Uh-huh. Go about 5 minutes before the little girl and the guy walk out in front of me. That's just pretending to be Will. I told you, it's all them. The FBI said none of this has been them. I think that Will was letting the police up there because I lived in the middle of nowhere watch me, right? And it was them doing it to me. I know the officer in town said he's retired. I don't know if something happened or what. Some of the guys that watched me said they took turns watching me when I was out, but they weren't up there. I lived in the middle of nowhere, and it was the undercover police doing it. The undercover police in the courthouse followed me down to Louisville, were following me around. Big bright trucks. Okay, one of them was a medium blue truck. There was a dark gray truck. There was a black truck. Okay, and then there's that red car, the white car, and then there is that black car, and the black car has like silver design on the trunk, and it's a bigger black car, and they're all part of it. Okay, and they can't be part of it. They would have had to call the FBI. Nothing they have is admissible. The officer in town said, don't you worry about anything before the FBI, nothing's admissible. They were out there yelling outside of Paul's new apartment. Well, we taped her before and told her to say everything. We got it. You can't break in and stab somebody with a needle and tell them to say something stupid and they never met you. It's drugs and kidnapping. There's supposed to be a Steve, Eric, Kurt, Chris, Mark, Henry involved, and a Christine. I don't know these people. I never had them in my home. You can't break in somebody's home and do that. You can't break into their home and stab them in the neck and put a cell phone on their head. There is a CT of it at Mercy Medical. You can see they cut the wires a crack. Some idiot went to insult me outside the radiology department. And they yelled at him, look, we all know some ass chipped her. I do need it out. There has to be some kind of government program to take it out. There's a law called Justice for Victims of Torture and Terrorism Act. If a government official ever hurts you, they have to make it right. If it's police, judges, whoever it is, I need someone to step in and take care of this. The FBI said it takes one officer to activate them and they'll come down and take care of it. I've been emailing them. Some Stark County sheriffs told me to blow up emails, so people show up. The FBI told Walter at the prosecutor it's actually the police's job to take care of all this. If they don't want it, they need to call them. They already know what's going on and they'll take care of it. These people are so ridiculous. They've been making fun of the FBI, even in mentors in the last few weeks. The too many crazy people are coming after, and it was too much for the local FBI, and they had to leave. They're daring them. I had to make a bill arrangement, and I was telling the guy why I was late from it being the judge's daughter and then the other girls, and how they've pretended to be FBI and how they drugged me and they framed me and photoshopped me and they're pretending to be FBI agents. He's like, boy, are they going to get theirs. He said, you wait, they will get theirs. Eventually, they will. Even my brother said, even if the FBI waits, they will get them for blaming them for everything. Which is amazing to me. These people run around, we're going to get her, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Do you realize what a Stark County judge would do to them? When did you literally sit down and talk to her? We didn't. We stabbed her with an illegal drug that's lethal, and that's outlawed to make her say yes to everything. Mike, my one neighbor, got roofied in a bar, and they let him watch the video and tape in the bar, and he told everybody he was an astronaut. He didn't remember anything. Nothing. No, I want you to think I've talked to no man, no woman. I had black and blue marks, and they were breaking, they were drugging me to people. And people have been okay with it. They ought to be scared to death. Blowing up the police's number and the FBI submit a tip online of getting down here and taking care of these rogue officers and this rogue judge. He looks, I walked in 9/18/19. There was a picture of a man that looks like a 1930 barber, white hair, long beard, handlebar mustache, looks like an old Santa Claus, and said Peter something. Well, outside my room, the undercover police were talking. Before you had us look into it, you knew she couldn't handle it. You knew she appreciated us doing it. You could find she did nothing wrong. He walks by, and Judge Timothy comes in laughing. You were ready to be, and I thought they were talking about me because they stopped following me that day. They weren't allowed to follow me. They're not allowed in Ravenna. They're not, and that's Portage County, and they're not allowed in Stark County. Yeah, and they followed me clear to Massillon. Like the Louisville officer said, there's jurisdiction. They're not allowed in their town. They weren't allowed anywhere. They didn't care what they were doing. They're doing all the crimes they can. And because they're police, I'm having trouble with other police stopping them. And it's the police's job to do it. And if they don't feel comfortable doing it, they need to call the FBI. They said they told Walter Moss, and one that works in the prosecutor's office, they already know what's going on down here. They'll come down and take care of it. See, I was already found innocent of everything. And I tell these people all the time, even the Maslin police will tell you she's innocent of everything. Whole family was interviewed in 18, spoke highly of me. Okay, and Melissa's kids were caught lying. And they told a lot of other people they were lying. And the police, because they watched Dixie on Federal Avenue, my daughter-in-law, because my ex put a threat on her life and they tampered with her vehicles. Really bad. Weird car, Josh's car, my other son, car blew up on the highway, barely made it out alive, slashed tires, flattened tires, took the lug nuts off so her tire came off when it was just her and the baby. We loosened them again, played with the brake system so their tires explode. Yeah, she said it's finally getting better. Um, And like they said, November 29th at FedEx, they came in and said her family didn't even think anything of her wiping off water with clothes on. They couldn't figure out why she's not around. I bet not. Their mother did more than a towel. Right? Alright. It's not wrong with clothes on adjusting yourself. I didn't expose myself. I'm good. And nobody even thought anything of it. Because the only thing they wanted to do was go out to eat. Yeah. And I even had the kids over at Christmas of 19 after I moved out. They spent the night. Nobody thought anything. I'd go pick them up, take them out to eat all the time. Yeah. Nobody thought anything of anything. Like I said, the mother did more than tell. People address themselves all the time. It's not wrong with clothes on. These people are ridiculous. They just took a simple action of wiping water off with clothes on to trying to make Photoshop it to be something dirty. On right, they did March 2nd to the 3rd. You can hear them. The car picked it up. These people are extremely ridiculous. Um, I do need someone to come down and take care of this, and I'm tired of it. Extremely tired of it, of the harassment day and night, day and night. And they think they're going to get money. And they think that they're going to get me in trouble for them photoshopping me, stalking me in my home, having Dave drug me, have the church people drug me, and then the rogue undercover officers pretending that they're FBI agents and fake badges. None of this was FBI. And I feel bad because when they're saying the case is called the Karen's Will for the agency, they're talking about it in Walmart. You can catch them. And then they'll say agency and Karen's Will. It's not the agency, it's a rogue undercover police pretending to be the FBI. They're in big trouble. And yeah, for the rapists, druggers, kidnappers, doing illegal surgery on somebody without their permission. Like I said, neurochips are not sci-fi stuff, they're just medical field stuff. And I do need it out. And there's a law somebody has to pay to take it out. And if someone will help me, I really appreciate it.